Hey, happy holidays, everybody. Our friends at Toy Traders have let us come into their incredible facility and shoot our holiday buyer's guides here. And today we are talking about best hardware, best gadgets that you should put onto your list this year. There's always lots of cool tech every year, so it's a little difficult to kind of isolate a handful of great ideas. And I'm going to start with one that I don't know if it might be flying under the radar for a lot of folks out there, because I think there's tons of confusion about virtual reality. I think the unequivocal choice, though, if you are wanting to experiment and dive in and check things out, is the Oculus Quest system.
Follow me and I will instruct you in its ways.
Everything is included in the box. You don't need to plug it into anything. You just have to get online through the wireless communication of the headset. The headset itself has cameras in it, so you don't have to put sensors up anywhere. All you get is the headset that fits comfortably and easily onto your head with the cameras, so you can see the environment around you inside of the technology of the machine. But you also get a couple of Oculus Touch controllers. That's it. All you got to do is download some software and jump in, and you are lost in virtual reality. It's not the highest fidelity that VR currently offers, but it's pretty damn good. One of the things that's very impressive, like Oculus also has the terrific Oculus Rift S, which came out this year, but the Quest requires no cable, nothing. You don't have to plug it into anything. All you got to do is create a room scale around yourself. So basically use the floor around you and draw a little line on the floor, a virtual line, and then you know not to walk past it and crash into your bookshelf or your couch or your coffee table. Actually, you want to move the coffee table out of your VR space. The games are very impressive. I've played titles like Beat Saber, of course, and the Vader Immortal series. There's lots of great games that you can dive into. Robo Recall, they're super fun and super slick, but the best new feature that's going to be added to the Quest, I think, in 2020 is the ability to tether this thing, which sort of is antithetical to the whole message about the Quest, but you can actually plug this into a PC and then have access to games and software titles that were only available to play on the original Rift or the Rift S, which opens up the Quest in a whole bunch of brand new ways. So phenomenal tech, out of the box. That's why I say it's one of the coolest tech ideas if you're looking for some cool hardware to give away this holiday. Now, another great suggestion might be the Nintendo Switch Lite. I wouldn't say that this is the first Switch that you want to pick up for somebody if they don't already own the Nintendo Switch. I would say just get the classic, not the launch system, because they've revamped it, so there is a new Switch that's out there right now that has improved battery life. Now, there are probably a lot of friends on your list that already own a Switch, though, and if they're like me, they probably get a little bit nervous packing their Switch everywhere around with them because they're concerned about dropping it and having a Joy-Con break or something like that. The real portable solution for the Switch is the Switch Lite, which is incredibly well crafted. You're not really losing that much in terms of screen real estate. It's a little bit smaller, but that compact kind of style to the Switch Lite makes it the ultimate handheld system. They added a D-pad for the controller so that you can play games like Street Fighter Anthology a little bit better. You can't play every single game that you can play on the traditional Switch on the Switch Lite, but you've got a really, really huge selection of titles to play on this platform. And I say that it's a wonderful accompaniment to the already Switch-owning fan that you might have in your life. It's great hardware, well worth the purchase price because it creates a whole new portable opportunity, And so if they're a Switch fan and they do a ton of traveling, if they're commuting on the train every day to work or traveling on airplanes all the time, the Switch Lite would be a wonderful gift. And it might be something that they would feel would be a little too extravagant for them to buy for themselves. Now, I tried to be not too enthusiastic about the brand new iPhone revisions that came out this year, but what Apple did is they increased the camera flexibility and the horsepower so much that it's impossible not to be impressed by what Apple has achieved with the iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is the phone that I'm currently using. What has really blown me away is the video fidelity is incredible on all of the cameras, including the front-facing camera. You can shoot in 4K, 60 frames per second. This camera over here is actually an iPhone 11, so we can use this in our production as part of our B-roll, and it works phenomenally well. The video qualities are awesome, and they also have incredible photo capabilities on the new iPhone 11s as well, with Deep Fusion, which allows the computational photography to kind of just be amped up to the nth degree, but also night mode, which has blown my mind. I've been able to just hold my phone in handheld mode and take pictures of stars for the first time, which is really impressive. It is a wonderful piece of hardware. It's a huge gift, so you got to really like that person. But if they haven't upgraded to a new iPhone in a long time, you're going to blow them away with either the 11 or the 11 Pro or Pro Max. Now, when I was traveling in Scotland for a wedding earlier this summer, I picked up the DJI Osmo Mobile 3, and I actually shot some video of the wedding using this stabilizer, which hooks up to an iPhone. The visual quality was just staggering, and the stabilization that this device offered was absolutely wonderful. And it allowed us to get some incredible shots of the Scottish countryside and the streets of Edinburgh, being able to move and, lock everything in place and not ever worry about it. It's not very expensive. It cost about $150 or something like that. And the horsepower of the device, we used it actually a little bit in our trip to Japan recently, where we shot the Rainbow Six Pro League finals. And we were able to get some incredible shots, incredibly stable, beautiful shots with this thing. It's a great device. And although the stabilization in modern phones is incredible, like the iPhone 11, you may not feel like you need that extra little bit of stabilization, but there's lots of other benefits in addition to just being able to stabilize your shots with the Osmo Mobile 3. So I think it's a great pickup. And of course, it doesn't just work with iPhone, it works with Android devices as well. This is a great device. Now, the last bit of hardware that I'm going to recommend for somebody that might be looking for some cool new tech under the tree this year are the Analogue game systems. They make an NES variant, a Sega Genesis variant, and a Super Nintendo variant. I'm going to focus on the 16-bit machines, which I've been using a lot, especially in my 16-bit superhero segments. That's called the Analogue Super NT, that's the Super Nintendo version, and the Analogue Mega SG, that's the Sega Genesis version. Now, these are incredibly sophisticated pieces of technology that accurately recreate the experience of plugging a cartridge into an original Super Nintendo or an original Sega Genesis, but it has obviously an HDMI 1080p output. Each of these different consoles has games included within the firmware, which is constantly being updated by Analogue, which I've been incredibly impressed by. They have a minimalist aesthetic, and they work with the old traditional controllers of those two respective 16-bit platforms. Of course, you can plug in brand new wireless controllers like the 8BitDo M30 or the Super Nintendo variant that 8BitDo creates as well. I have been blown away by how often I use these devices and how much fun they bring me. There's something to be said about slapping in an old video game cartridge and having the screen light up with all of that incredible pixel art and lossless fidelity, and there's no lag on these new systems at all, and you've never seen 16-bit look better than this. Really, really impressed with both the Analogue Mega SG and the Analogue Super NT. Wonderful consoles. Now, I will say that you may still want to hunt down the all-in-one boxes. There's the Sega Genesis Mini, which has 42 games, emulated versions of some classic Sega Genesis games. That might be a great alternative to hunting down individual cartridges for every one that you would want on a Mega SG, because it's all collected there for you. And Sega did a great job with that, including international versions of software, great theme music in the menus, and of course all of these classic Sega games on the list that will get you thinking about what you want to augment your collection on your Mega SG. And of course, the Super Nintendo Mini, if you can still find it, is a wonderful pickup as well. I love these mini consoles, but there's something to be said about going out and hunting classic cartridges. Sometimes you got to clean them, but then sticking them into a modern system and seeing them light up your HD TV. It's incredible. All right, you guys, there's a bunch of hardware and tech ideas for you holiday bounty hunters to go and track down. We've got lots of holiday gift ideas and videos for you to check out, and you're going to get some great suggestions in there. So watch all of the vids, but thank you so much for watching this one.